track promoters and the racers and car owners.
I don't see it happening. Sam?
I'm looking at the road to the Iron Giant Street Stock Series. I don't think they're going to run out the Camaros anytime soon, and they're the ones putting up the majority of the money right now for the Northwest for the street stocks. So, like Joel said, I could see it phasing out, but I think it's going to take at least 5 years running this class with the IMCA modifieds before you see any decent payout for them. Does that make sense? And they're not going to spend their money on those cars if they can at least recoup some of that money through winnings.
And maybe something like the Iron Giant Street Stock Series is the answer for those cars. If tracks decide to phase those out, they've got their own series with their own set of rules. You know, the Iron Giant might be onto something with perfect timing coming into the game with this series. I mean, it could lead to that where maybe racetracks do phase out the Camaro and all those cars end up on that series.
So are you telling me Chris
Exactly.
can read in the future?
And the other thing, too, that we're forgetting is that we have Southbound Speedway, the Hermiston Half Mile, and Douglas County Speedway that are asphalt tracks, and I'm pretty sure they still allow Camaros there.
What asphalt? What's that?
It's for getting to the
that's
dirt.
That stuff that we commonly refer to as the way to get to the racetrack. You know. So I mean, there's multiple options and multiple avenues for, you know, those chassis to be sold. I mean, you can't take a dirt modified and turn it into an asphalt modified very easily, if at all. So, you know, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, and I know you're going to love that phrase.
Well, coming from you, it's just funny.
Yes, sir.
So you guys are getting ready to head out to Winnemucca. Your guys, you're going to be stuck there at the shop. But tell me about this trip. How long are they going to be gone?
They are going to be gone, and that's the thing is we don't know if we're going to Winnemucca. We don't know if we're going to California. We don't know if we're going to Arizona. But we are planning for the longest possible trip, which is a 3-day show at Winnemucca. Because you never know, we'll hit I-5, head south, and wherever we decide to race, we want to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best, and come back with big Happy Gilmore check.
Well, hopefully they can find some success down there. Hey, Brad Newsom is listening on the Swears Trucking chat line. Brad, I don't understand your message. It says the Camaro, and I think he means is in a league by itself in the hobby stocks with IMCA, not just a stock car. It's all a level of evolution. And he's correct when he says that. I would just hate I would hate to see the Camaro completely phased out because it's such an affordable type race car. And I don't think we're going to see that. I really don't. I just don't see how anybody could do that and keep car count at the racetrack.
I agree.
So
I think it's something, you know, we're going to have to see how it all plays out in time. It's something that we don't have the answers for, you know, today on March 15th in 2018. We don't have the answers for it, but I think as the season progresses here through 2018, through the spring and summer and into the fall, we'll kind of see the direction this is going to head. And I think that by that time, we'll have more information to make an informed decision and move forward.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens excuse me, with this class over 2018. How many cars actually show up? I know that there are a few what we call elite drivers building these cars. The car that Kevin Roberts posted, I mean, is just, you saw that picture, right?
Oh, yes, I did.
I mean, is that not a car that's going to grab some attention everywhere it unloads?
Kevin Roberts' cars always grab attention. His graphics package is absolutely phenomenal. The craftsmanship in his cars is absolutely phenomenal, and his driving skill is pretty gosh darn good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does in that class and how many guys we get to the track. Like, again, I don't want anybody to think I'm talking bad about this IMCA class because the potential of it being just a phenomenal class at any racetrack. We've seen the videos. We watch them all back east. I mean, it's just they provide incredible racing. I'm hoping that happens here without eliminating that street stock and sportsman style divisions. I
do too. I think it's all a progression, a process of evolution, like Brad said, and we're going to just do what we do. We're going to go racing here in a couple of weeks and have some fun.
And I am looking forward to that because it's that long, dull winter here in the Pacific Northwest just seems to drag on and on. The closer that we get to racing season, the slower that time seems to go, right?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
So your expectations of this IMCA class for 2018, what does Joel think is going to happen to this?
At this point in time, I think it's going to be a class that's going to grow. I don't think it's going to be like the mini truck that we had at Willamette Speedway on and off for a couple of years. I think it's going to be more along the lines of like the Hornet division that we have at Willamette Speedway. The first year we're going to probably have 4, 5, 6 cars. On year 2, we might have a field of 15 or 20. It's all going to depend on the series of events that take place this summer through the 2018 season. And, at my prediction right now is that we're going to have more information to make a decision about this class come September.
Well, it'll be interesting because, we had many discussions, you and I and Sam and the Moxie team, about we saw this coming a year ago. We've talked about it a million times. Now that it's here and it's a reality, the question of what is going to happen is just kind of got everybody with their eyebrows raised like this is either going to be really good or it's going to take a while to build this. And I think that the possibility of what some of these guys see, and this is what I mean by this, what some of these drivers see, guys like Kevin Roberts, number one, that put together these just immaculate race cars with equipment that is going to be tough to beat. Guys that want to race that class that probably can't afford that are going to say, you know what, I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
But here's the thing, Corey, with that IMCA stock car class, you talk about the dollar signs, the budget on these race cars.
Every racer has a budget.
Every racer has a budget, and the nice thing about IMCA is the way they write their rules. They do everything they can so the guy with the most cubic dollars doesn't win and isn't dominant.
Theoretically,
you look at it. if you look at their,
hold on a second. What you just said applies to all classes. They're written basically, unless you're in a full-on open comp class, they're written basically so one guy can't go out and just spend a bunch of money and dominate. That's what rules are for. But we see typically year in and year out 2 or 3 guys that dominate every division at every local track. I know what you're saying is true, but we still see the guys that can afford the better equipment are the guys you're seeing up front.
Correct.
Okay.
If you look at Section 24 in the IMCA stock car rules, they have carburetor limits and cubic inch limits for the engine. So you literally, if you run a 350 CFM car, there's no cubic inch limit or compression limit. On a 500 CFM car, you can only run that on up to a 361 cubic inch GM, a 363 cubic inch Ford, or a 370 cubic inch Mopar.
Right.
They have certain block numbers and block ranges that are approved. And so that really is going to prevent where a lot of guys go out and dump a ungodly amount of money into their motors. You're not going to have somebody out there with a big 421 that's, all stud girdled out with high compression and all this other stuff, being able to use it all effectively, because guess what? He's choked down to a 350 cubic foot a minute carburetor. So it's going to prevent some of that overspending in that class. Yeah, that is one part of the stock car rules that I like.
I like the rule too, but we all know that there's still, like we said, every racer has a budget. Some guys can't buy what other guys can. It's all relative. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have the same thing in the Leighton models and every other class on down. It's just the way racing is. some guys are going to have better equipment based upon their budget. That doesn't mean they're going to win every race. I understand that. Money doesn't buy talent. But if you look at the guys that we have heard, and I can only right now confirm one guy with an IMCA stock car, I mean a true IMCA stock car here in the P&W. But you look at that, and there's still, that guy's got a ton of talent. I mean, Kevin Roberts as a driver, on top of great equipment. Now, someone like you or I that don't have a budget like a driver of Kevin Roberts.
Time out. You're never going to get me behind a race car, even though it doesn't have a windshield.
I'm talking about
a race car is just not something good.
Right. I understand that, but you see the point I'm trying to make. You can write rules, but rules only go so far as budgets go and drivers, and it is the way it is. You're going to have fast cars, and you're going to have guys that can't afford the fast stuff that are going to be out there trying to compete. Beating somebody like Kevin Roberts in an IMCA stock car, and we saw how badass fast he is in a street stock. Okay, we know the car he got is about as nice as you can get, and he's about as good as a driver you can get on a G60 tire. That right there, people are going to go, whoa, wait a second. I got to run against Kevin on a weekly basis. That right there is going to determine people from building a stock car.
Yeah, well, then they can...
And I mean that. And I mean that in a compliment to Kevin Roberts. I don't want to think anybody that I'm talking bad about the IMCA stock car division or talking bad about Kevin Roberts. Kevin's a great guy. He's got great equipment. But I mean, how many guys are going to go? Yeah, I'm going to go build one of those cars and race against him and get my ass kicked every week. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing, Corey. If you're a true racer, you're not going to give a flying hoot who your competition is. You're going to go out there and go, challenge accepted, just like Matt Crafton did when he was at Williams Speedway and had to start in the back every main event because he didn't have any track points.
There's those guys.
Challenge accepted. I'm going to go out there and whip the tail off these guys.
There are those guys that are going to look at that and go, you know what? I'm going to stay in the street stocks because these guys are moving up. Now I got a real shot to win. I mean, that's going to happen too.
Larry, Scary Larry the Cupcake Baker, he's going to be one of those guys.
Oh, he just threw you under the bus, Larry. Unbelievable. I expect nothing less from Joel. Larry got tore up at the Racecar Show. But no, it's a good conversation. I know people are talking about this IMCA stock car class. Sam's pretty pumped up about it. I am too. I just hope it flies. I hope that it grows at a rate where we can keep these cars, guys that have the money invested into them, have a class to race in instead of having to get rid of them and either move up or drop down back to where they came from.
Yes, sir. I agree.
So that's and I guess in this whole conversation, that's my biggest concern is the class grows fast enough. We get enough cars to put on a great show for the fans, and the drivers have someone big enough field to race with. Instead of we tried this experiment, it didn't work out. We didn't get enough cars. Now we got to sell these cars, and we either got to move up or down. That's my big concern with this class. Now, if the class takes off, the fans are in for just something awesome. I mean, we know how good the street stocks are. The IMCA stock cars are just as good. The only thing I don't like is they all look the same.
Well, you know what the best part is? If I get bored this winter, I might just go out and put one together and have one of my drivers run it, just because.
Well,
put on a show for the fans because that's what we're there to do.
That's what it's all about. That's what those guys are there for. And I mean, I know if those grandstands, if they were empty, they'd still race, but it wouldn't be the same, right?
Exactly.
So,
well, buddy,
it's good conversation. Want to wish you guys the best on your trip. The Katy boys heading out to wherever they're going, whether it's California or Winnemucca or whatever. Good luck. Get those cars figured out, and we will see those guys April 14th at Willamette Speedway.
Oh, we will. I mean, it's going to be a fun trip for them. I'm going to be stuck at the store, but I'll tell you what, they've already got smiles on their faces. They're sitting there, and they got itchy trigger fingers. They're ready to light those cars off and drop the hammer.
Wow. Well, good luck. Hopefully they can pick up a win while they're down there and debut in the Longhorn cars. And best of luck. We will talk to you guys soon. And keep the dirty side down.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Take care. Now, Sam, Joel made some valid points.
He usually does.
He made some valid points. And I guess, like I said, that whole conversation, the point that I was really trying to get across is